With Deo Tonkashila, Great Spirit, I ask to be a divine channel of your truth, of everyone's presence. May we all be empowered to speak our truths, to honor our truths, to be present in our pain and to heal through it. I ask for all of the honorable ancestors, healed ancestors, guides, soul's council, cosmic families of all present to be here as we move through this talk, as we uncover parts of ourselves that need to start healing, and as we ask for our connection to the next steps in our healing path. Okay, hi everyone. I felt really compelled to come on right now. I was just breastfeeding my son, who is a 1.5 years old tomorrow, and I had a long day of clients, and the biggest thing that came forth was the mother wound. And so I wanted to just talk about that. What does that mean? So many things. If we are birth workers, we know that when a birth happens, the baby comes out ideally. Baby comes out, and then the placenta is birthed. Now, there is this thing we talk about called the placental site wound. One of my comadre teachers in her birthing postpartum healing lodge course talks about, from one of her student teacher people, that we don't want to call it a wound anymore. We just know that we want to heal it, right? Naming things is really special. Naming things creates realities, right? When we call somebody or something, that gives it imparts an energy. However, regardless of what we call this, when the placenta detaches from the uterus, there is the space it was attached, which also needs healing. It is my understanding that oftentimes this space bleeds, and that can be a potential cause of hemorrhage. There's more we could talk about physiologically about that. So that's one ideation of the mother wound. Another physiologically is the belly button, the ombligo, where the cord is connected to the mother from the baby. And when that cord falls off, that is also could be perceived as a mother wound. I have experienced personally and have heard through other female-bodied humans who connect with male-bodied humans in an intimate way, that touching the ombligo or the belly button incites a charge, whether that be extreme discomfort or even violence. Okay, so that's another place to look at the mother wound. When I was pregnant, I experienced a lot of my own childhood stuff come up. And I was somewhat estranged from my mother, just dealing with my own stuff and like needing to create my own emotional boundaries with my mom, just by virtue, like we're all people on this journey, and we all have a bunch of stuff, whether it's our parents' fault or not, or it's just our specific journey. And we could talk a lot about what that looks like, what the journey is. But the point is, I needed some distance. And I was sitting in the bathtub bawling my eyes out one day, you know, in your pregnant hormones and stuff. And I talked to my ancestors, and I asked to see what I needed to see so that I could heal. And I saw myself, or I saw the incubator. I was a preemie baby, and they took me away from my mother and put me in a little plastic box without her. And I saw the bright lights, and I was in there for almost 2 months. And she would visit me every day, of course, but they kept me. And I missed my mother. So there's so much to talk about when it comes to the mother wound. Now, we want to know about how do we heal the mother wound. My baby just started crying, so let's see if Daddy... I'll be back because this is part of healing the mother wound. Okay, see you soon. Okay, sorry about that. I'm very grateful to have a beautiful partner who takes care of his son. So thank you, Papa Fu. He's singing to him. All right, so So this came up because today I had a slew of different patients, all being present with different aspects of mothering, and the whether it's the pain of mothering, whether it's abandonment of mother, whether it was fertility or breastfeeding or child loss. It's super nigh right now. This is like coming up for all of us, is this mother wound right now. So specifically, I want to talk about the connection of nurturance and mothering. And so one of my people today was, how do I put this? The focus was on food. And it came up that in my parents' generation, I'm 36, almost 37, and my mother's mother survived the twilight birthing era, and starting in the 1930s and 40s, they introduced formula. So formula came about when when they started producing preservatives for World War II people, right? So basically it was this idea. There was also later on the Cold War scare. It's like, if you have to be in a bomb shelter, if you have to be out in the field, how do you eat? So preservatives can be really cool, right? In that they offer us food if there's no fresh food. At the same time, the industry really ran with that, and they can make a lot of cheap food and make a lot of profit. So they actually sent people who were kind of parading as nurses into hospitals in the 1930s, 40s. You can research this, that made women, birther bodies with breasts, believe that their breast milk was disgusting, that it was uncouth, that it was not modern to breastfeed, and systematically negated us against our natural first food. And the formula industry is still doing some type of this to this day. It's there's a lot of modifiers I could use to describe it, but I won't. So when that happened, now conversely, I'm a birthing doula, right? So I've been in home births where first thing you do is belly to belly. You put baby's belly against mama's belly, and their suckling instinct, when they're non-medicated and are given directly to birther, is immediate, absolutely immediate. And when the baby starts sucking on the nipple, oxytocin happens, which is a neurotransmitter that makes the womb contract. Okay, and when the womb contracts, the bleeding stops. Its nature is so phenomenally intelligent when it comes to birthing. Like, our bodies are meant to do this, right? And from a Chinese medicine perspective, it makes complete and total sense that this belly to belly would create this nurturance. In Chinese medicine, the stomach and the spleen and the pancreas are the organs that are connected to the earth element. The color is orange. The emotion is worry or sentimiento, like feeling or thoughtfulness. The sound is song, and the propensity is offering. Okay, so when we are not given to our birthers immediately to suckle from these milk machines that are meant, there is a severing, there is a disconnect. And then so many mothers, especially mothers of color, because they lack advocacy in racist medical industrial complex, are told, oh, it's just hard to breastfeed, you don't have to do that. And then there's a bunch of other indicators and factors that would actually make it hard to breastfeed, like shame around the breasts and nipples, like repressed emotions that affect your liver and your ability to express yourself, and so your nipples like really hurt, etc. There's so much to talk about, but I'm talking about the mother wound. So when I was pregnant and I remembered being in an incubator when I was a baby, I bawled my eyes out and I was like, I need my mother. I need my mama. And that's when we started to heal. And I realized that part of our enmeshment, if you will, part of this like push and pull that I had always had with my mom had to do with the fact that they took me away from her for 2 whole months. I'm brokenhearted for mothers, especially in the medical industrial complex. One of my clients today had their baby taken from them, and then she lost it. They didn't explain, they didn't tell her, they said it had an infection, but she couldn't hold her child until her child was already gone. And I'm a channel, I'm a medium, I saw some shit, I heard some shit, it was ugly, and I couldn't even express it. But I know firsthand from being a birth worker and from being a medium and channel what happens to babies in the complex. I made this by myself. It's some shit I cooked. Sorry, I'm trying to distract myself from painful subjects. I'm an escapist. That's why I need to like be accountable and come online, right? So why am I talking about this? It's prevalent, and I think I'm a big supporter, as many of our ancestors or all of them were, of the ways the cosmos affect what's happening in the times. Right now it's a new moon. New moon is nigh tomorrow at 11:32 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. And so this is the dark moon night. The dark moon is all about our unseen pain place. The dark moon is like the dark goddess. The dark moon is like this old shit. Now, it just so happens that this is the second new moon in Cancer. So, you know, they say once in a blue moon. That refers to full moons. If you have 2 full moons in a month, this is the second new moon. So we've been riding this Cancer vibe for this whole month, and this Cancer vibe is about these waters, and the waters came in strong, and the waters are connected to the moon, are connected to our womb, are connected to the waters that our baby comes in. So it makes perfect and total sense to me that the mother wound would be coming up very, 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 very fiercely and strongly right now. Black mothers continue to be murdered in hospital settings, and of course this isn't intentional, but it's straight up negligence, cultural incompetence, and honestly the medical industrial complex lacks the tools to actually help people thrive. They have big hammers for nails, and when you get a nail, those big hammers work really well, but unfortunately there's a lot of other things that are happening than nails, if that makes sense. So these humans, young, beautiful, vibrant, completely able to birth babies from their vagina and their womb because they're 20 and 22 and not high risk, are dying in the hospitals. And they say that home birth is dangerous. I want to say, and this is something I teach in the first day of my birthing class, is birthing is dangerous. Birthing's been dangerous since the beginning of time. There's always been stillbirth. There's always been miscarriage. There's always been maternal death. That's a variation of normal. It is way more now that we have given up our birthing power to the hands of the legacy of Mary and J. Sims. And I am consistently and will consistently put calls to action for specifically women of color and women who do not want to continue, not even women, men too, people who are drawn to birth work, gender non-binary, everything. It doesn't matter how you identify. We need birth workers who are willing to honor our birthing bodies, all of our birthing bodies, in the ways that our mothers of old honored birthing bodies, in the ways that our abuelas y tatarabuelas honored birthing bodies, in the ways that we sing babies forth. It is necessary. And I am also creating a call to choosing motherhood that honors these old ways, to choosing motherhood that makes you choose your body. I don't know how else better to put that. It's a long road, y'all, The mother wound is intense. There's fucking babies in cages in the border here in Aurora. You know, like, it is fucked right now. We are straight up being taken away from our birthing parents left and right for the power of the establishment. Because that's how they gain power. When you do not get your baby when they're first born, what's happening is they're establishing who the parent is, and it's sick. And this is my opinion. This is my experience. Any of you who work in the medical field, refute it. Like, prove me wrong. I would love that, honestly. And if you don't, and if you're thinking about having a baby, hire local birth workers, try a home birth, educate yourself. The cool thing about having an emergency-based medical system is when there's an emergency, it works really well. But if they treat everything like an emergency and everything like a pathology, then you just end up being pathologized and potentially being over-medicated or cut open for too long, etc., and so on and so forth. And as my sister in the birth world, China Tolliver, spoke words on her, she's Rise Up Midwife, China Tolliver, a black body is not safe in a hospital made of racism. And my grandmother, who is extremely brown, red woman, indigenous, was not safe in a hospital made of racism. And my mother wasn't either. And neither was I. I got taken away from my mom, and that's against nature. There's so much more I could say about this, and I'm going to oh no, Shiana, my baby, I'm so sorry. I'll read some of your comments and then I'm gonna return. I was breastfeeding my son, who's 1.5 years, and he wouldn't unlatch, and I just like got so like sad and grateful at the same time that like I'm privileged enough and blessed enough that I knew all this and I could birth at home in my grandmother's house with my mother, and my baby can still be on my chi-chi. I'm fucked up right now, y'all, and the new moon vibes are getting me, and we need to call unto ourselves our birthing bodies and our power. It's not too late, and it's gonna happen. But just know that the mother wound is gonna be coming up. So Sister Shiana said, I birthed at a birth center for that reason, and they were still negligent, which nearly resulted in me losing my life. So much was avoidable. Any future births would be 100% home births. And home births aren't lack of danger, right? Because birthing is fucking dangerous. It is life or death. We are opening the portal to the other world. We're fucking bleeding. We're working harder than we've ever worked. It's God work, okay? And at least if you're at home, you like know what's going on, and there's not a million different variables from a million different nurses, from like 4 different doctors on call who decided to put their fingers in your vagina for fun or whatever. Excuse me, I'll stop being a bitch about it. Okay, let's see what people say. What do y'all say? Because I be talking all the tanks. Getting all kind of hurt about life and everything. If you guys, I would love to see if y'all would be interested in a healing birth trauma ceremonies ongoing. Yao Siwat says, yes, thank you so much. My firstborn was taken away from me. I did not see her until 3 hours after birth. One of my other people said they didn't see their baby until 7 hours after birth, and they were already washed and vaccinated and everything without consent. And this happens specifically to melanated bodies because of racism. I think it happens to unmelanated bodies too, but they have at least more advocacy based on their skin color. Okay, so how can we heal this mother wound? Good question. There's a lot of ways. Tere says, I had both my daughters in a hospital. My first daughter was taken for a couple of minutes to give her oxygen because she wasn't breathing due to umbilical cord wrapped around her neck. Okay, so my baby's umbilical cord was wrapped around their neck. Babies don't breathe when they're first born. There's variations of that. I just birthed him and unwrapped his cord and brought him to my chi-chi. Boom. And his eyes were open. He came in through song in my grandma's home, so there's different circumstances. I would just really encourage all of y'all to do a lot of different research, because the medical industrial complex, that part of the reason they have so much power is because of the consistent misinformation they are paid to give humans. Like, your baby's gonna die. And it's like, well, where's the evidence? There's a podcast called Evidence-Based Birth. Where's the evidence to substantiate that? Where's the history to substantiate that? According to a book I read by a Filipino lineage-based midwife, she learned in Bali and in India, if you don't cut the placenta right away, you can put the placenta in warm water, and if a baby is literally born stillborn, the placenta will push life into the baby, because there's all that blood. So definitely delayed cord clamping. Like, don't let them cut your baby's umbilical cord, because there can be up to 50% of the baby's blood still in the placenta. And so if you cut that cord too fast, then the baby doesn't get that blood. And there's a whole slew of problems, ranging from immunodeficiency issues, etc. Okay, good. I'm glad that your second daughter was given to you and breastfed right away. This is a lot, and I don't say this to demonize any of you who did go through the system, whether it was good or not good. What I'm saying is that people, birthers are powerful, and we need to remember how powerful we are as birthing bodies, and the medical field can indeed save lives, but so can traditional birthers, so can you. Okay, so can ancestral wisdom save lives. And I was a C-section baby, and my mom was bleeding out, and so she believes, I'm still deciding, that the medical industrial complex did save our lives, and that's wonderful. But statistically, only 5% of the time those kinds of interventions are needed. And there has not been studies done on what percentage of the time they're not needed and really fuck shit up really bad. So just keep your eyes open. I'm an agency advocate. I want you guys to choose what happens to your body. And more than that, I want you to choose listening to your deep knowing. And listening to our deep knowing, because of colonialism, has been taken from us in so many ways, and that's a whole other thing. I'm so sorry a baby was breech and forced to have a C-section. My aunt was breech and they pulled her out with forceps, and I don't think that was good either. Yeah, breech, forced to have a C-section. So there's so much about breech. That's another one of those misinformations, is that they say that it's high risk and it's dangerous. If you follow birthing accounts on Instagram, and follow just people who honor birth, breech can happen. Babies are born butt first, babies are born feet first, and they're freaking fine. And that actually means something spiritually, right? As a Chinese medicine doctor, I have turned breech babies using Chinese medicine, as a channel medium, I've helped turn breech babies, talking to the baby about what they need in order to feel comfortable coming through. And I know sobadoras, Mexican traditional womb masseurs, if you will, sobadoras, they can literally turn a baby and relax entire muscles. I suggest following Maite, the womb doula, Mayte, the womb doula, on Instagram, and Indigimama, of course, Comadre Panquetzani. There's just a lot of fear promulgated in the medical system, and fear begets power. So just double check, triple check. If somebody tells you something, get 3 more opinions, get 10 more opinions. And then you can make an educated decision, because especially when we're undereducated, again, no shade, when we're undereducated, when we come from an oppressed background, when we come from a fear background, we're easily manipulated by the system, especially because most of us whose grandparents were Black and Indigenous, etc., are living with this ancestral trauma of shutting your mouth or being killed, right? So, or having your baby taken away. If you're super melanated, they will also threaten, if you don't do what they tell you to do, that they're going to get the Child Protective Services involved. So then there becomes a need for advocacy, to have a doula there, to have somebody who it's complex, y'all. I'm not saying I know everything. I'm just telling you what I experience and am encouraging you to seek answers for yourself. That's it. Okay, let's see. My titi was taken and a different baby was given to her mom. Her mama knew that wasn't her daughter. Our birthmarks are big. She had one. The baby she was given didn't. Shit like that terrifies me. Yeah. Again, I can't advocate enough for home birth, especially in the times, especially right now. And I call birth workers. However it happens, whether you go to midwife school, whether you go abroad and study with traditional parteras anywhere, where like whether you like feel completely confident in your own body, like I'm a free birth because my body was made to birth, and you could have emergency on backup, but reclaim birth because your baby belongs to and I know possession is an illusion in this like meta sense, because your children are not your children. That's a whole song. I'm losing myself because I'm tired and I'm bleeding and I'm fucked up about all of it. So let's see. I'm sorry your family experienced that. I can't imagine the grief felt by all. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. Hi, Mirto. The business of being born, y'all. I did 2 homeboys and 3 home births and 3 natural hospital births. Home birth is everything. I did a couple homeboys too. Just kidding. What up, Arasia? Humor is good medicine, y'all. Humor is good medicine. Okay, does anyone have any questions? Any questions? Yeah, home birth, especially if you are a melanated body, it's honestly just safer. And if you live in a place where there's racism that just runs rampant, definitely. So new moon in Cancer, really feeling our feels, going to that dark place. How do we heal the mother wound? Okay, thank you. She probably already left because I went on something else. It's a long journey. Like, I had to get pregnant and be 35 before like I even realized what was more of the mother wound, right? What I told one of my people today was that our relationship with nurturing ourselves has a lot to do with our relationship to mother and to the mother wound. So especially if we weren't able to be breastfed or we weren't able to breastfeed, Panketsani taught me that the biggest thing about not being able to breastfeed is not feeling nourished. If you don't feel nourished, how can you nourish? So really healing the relationship with nourishment and reparenting yourself. So there are many ways we can reparent ourselves. We can give ourselves bedtimes. We can give ourselves gold stars. We can give ourselves accolades. When we can become aware of where our wounding is, because not everybody's mother wound is the same, right? Some of our mothers were taken from us violently. Some of our mothers are addicts. Some of our mothers were not able to be emotionally present because they were dealing with their own emotional shit. It looks really different. Some of us had to be mothers when we were 4 years old because our moms were strung out, right? And we had to take care of our little brothers and sisters. There are so many ways that we miss our nurturance as children. So I would say start with seeing where you miss nurturing yourself, if that makes sense. And then you can move from a place of learning to offer yourself the mother that you were not able to have, and then that is where the unfolding of the healing and like what you even need happens. A lot of us with mother wounds are scared to ask for what we need. A lot of us with mother wounds jump from relationship to relationship without ever getting our needs met, jump from unavailable person to unavailable person. There's so much. I'm planting the seed for my daughters to one day have home births. Good. And yeah, maybe in 20 years, you know, the complex will have shifted if it makes it money, you know. I mean, I don't know. Everything's up in the air right now. Again, I have no answers. I can just pontificate my point of view. Take it for what you will. Expecting a newborn September 12. What strong recommendations do I have? Home birth. I have other recommendations. I teach a birthing class. I invite all of you to take it. The next time it's going to drop is probably late August. So it's a 4-week class. So it'll be perfect timing for you. Okay. Tomorrow, if for those of you who don't know, myself and my dear sister friend Charmaine Bravo of Charm Life Wellness, she's my comadre. Our moms, you know, marched together during the Civil Rights Movement. They're comadres from back in the day. Charmaine and I went to high school together. We're tight and we heal each other all the time, and our homies. We've been doing a bi-monthly healing circle together virtually on the full moons and the new moons at the exact time of the full moon and new moon. So we're doing one tomorrow. It starts at 11:11 a.m. The new moon is nigh at 11:32. Link is in my Instagram bio. I'll post on Facebook right now. And it's donation based, so you can just pay. It's $3.33 is the lowest amount on there, just because I had to automate everything, so I wasn't like this all the time because I want to be with my kid. So yeah, anything else, loves? Boundary setting, yes. Boundary setting is definitely the mother wound, and there's a lot we could talk about on boundary setting too. If your boundaries weren't honored, if you had a single mother and you had to be the partner for the single mother, because we're so close to our mothers and we share nervous system, we can still get like shook up by our mother's reactions to life. So honoring the boundaries is really necessary as well. Hello, intuitive mama. Highly recommend the birthing basis class. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's deep work, and the deep work, and this is all healing related, right? Birth is the first ceremony. All healing ceremonies come after the birthing ceremony. Okay. So if we heal birth, we heal everything. It's true. So I encourage y'all to look in, like, if this is the first thing you've ever heard about birth work and you're curious, look into being somebody who protects birth. Okay. Curious to hear my thoughts about the liver meridian. Like in breastfeeding and pregnancy, I have a lot of thoughts about the liver meridian. I'm a Chinese medicine doctor, so what do you mean? Okay, yeah. If you benefit from my work, please consider donating to my family, to my work, to my sustainability as someone who offers. Cash App, Muse Medicina, PayPal, eutimia@gmail.com, and Venmo, Eutimia-Montoya. If you feel like being in community and healing parts of the mother wound, healing through this dark moon, Cancer season, healing the waters of yourself, your soul, your womb, please come tomorrow at 11:11 a.m. virtually. If you go to my bio and you go there, you'll get all the link and everything you need. Yeah, so I hope that is helpful for you, and that it's helpful for you. Liver meridian reproductive health, that's a whole class on itself. You're welcome to make an appointment with me. Yeah. All right, guys. You guys have a beautiful evening. Thank you for listening. Many blessings through this new moon, through your emotional place, and be gentle with yourselves. Mother yourself as best as you can. Give yourself caricias. Be like, ay, mijita, que estás tan linda, consentida, santa niña, corazoneta. And connect with the Mother Earth. Okay, y'all. Ometeo. Thank you for watching. Ciao.